viewers, welcome back. And in this video, I shall try to give you some questions that can come or that may come in the final exam that you are preparing for if you are from Dibrugarh University and for the paper literary uh, theory. Okay, so literary theory paper, it is a little bit hard for many people, for many students, but if you have a little idea what kind of questions may come, then it will give you some confidence in the exam. So that's why I have brought this video for you. So without any delay, let's begin it. The first question is, write a short note on the distinction between the reproduction of the means of production and the reproduction of labor power in the context of Althusser's discussion of ideology. Number second, all ideology hails or interpellates concrete individuals as concrete subject. Write a short note on Althusser's concept of interpellation. Number three, saying it follows that it is in quotation, it follows that in order to exist, every social formation must reproduce the conditions of its production at the same time as it produces, and in order to be able to produce. So this is a line taken from the lesson itself. And the question is, what does Althusser mean by every social formation? Explain, reproduce the conditions of its production at the same time as it produces, and in order to be able to produce. Number four, the difficulty in thinking of an Indian literature, therefore, is not that it is spread over many languages with histories of very uneven development, nor that the state boundaries which have historically contained these literary productions have been shifting through all the centuries we know of. The difficulties lies rather in the very premises that have often governed the narrativization of that history. So, quotation close. What does Ahmad mean by histories of uneven development? Explain Ahmad's point. The difficulties lies rather in the very premises that have often governed the narrativization of their history. Number five question. For Gramsci, hegemony operates through civil society. So discuss with reference to his essay, The Formation of the Intellectuals. Number six, what does Said mean when he says that Orient is an integral part of European material, civilization, and culture? Number seven, explain Derrida's notion of play in relation to his statement, the absence of the transcendental signified extend the domain and the play of signification infinitely. Number eight, what kind of political action does focus approach to power and truth lead to? Okay. Number nine, how does Althusser define ideological state apparatuses and repressive state apparatuses? Which is more important according to him? Question mark. Number 10. Discuss Said's statement, Edward Said's statement in the inverted comma. To say simply that Orientalism was a rationalization of colonial rule is to ignore the extent to which colonial rule was justified in advance by Orientalism rather than after the fact. Number 11. What does Althusser mean by materiality of ideology? Number 12. What is post-structuralism? Number 13, according to Aijaz Ahmed, what are the institutional, historical, and linguistic difficulties in assuming Indian literature as an always already existent category? Number 14, free play is always an interplay of absence and presence, but if it is to be radically unconceived, free play must be conceived of before the alternative of presence and absence. Being must be conceived of as presence or absence, beginning with the possibility of free play and not the other way around. If Levi-Strauss, better than any other, has brought to light the free play of repetition and the repetition of free play, one no less perceives in his work a sort of ethic of presence, an ethic of nostalgia for origins, an ethic of archaic and natural innocence, of a purity presence and self-present in speech and ethnic nostalgia, and even remorse, which he often presents as the motivation of the ethnological project when he moves toward archaic societies, exemplary societies in his eyes. And in the light of the above statement, give an account of Derrida's critique of Levi-Strauss in Structure, Sign and Play in Discourse of the Human Sciences. Next question. Comment on Althusser's view on the history of ideological state apparatuses with regard to church and school. Next question. Give a brief account of Gramsci's distinction between traditional intellectual and organic intellectual. Next question. The civilizational unity of Europe is achieved in the othering of the East through the discourse of Orientalism. Discuss. Next question. The prohibition of incest constitutes a rule, but the rule alone of all the social rules which possess at the same time a universal character. Explain how incest presents a challenge to the nature culture opposition. Next question. Foucault detects in the concept of ideology nostalgia for a quasi-transparent form of knowledge free from all error and illusion. We discuss. Next question. Levi-Strauss' study of myths, according to Derrida, never shies away from self-criticism and frequently declares limits of its own analytical project. Discuss. Next question. Discuss Didi Kosambi and S.K. Das as models of research upheld by Aijaz Ahmed. Next number. While Said seems methodologically committed to the examination of Orientalism as a body of knowledge comprising texts that display a discursive coherence, he is reluctant to abandon the idea of highly original contributions to the same discursive formation. Discuss the comment in the context of Said's theoretical in-depthness to Foucault. Next question. Describe Gramsci's notion of hegemony. What role do intellectuals play in the maintenance or subversion of hegemonic control? Next question. What, according to Ahmed, are the main areas requiring institutional intervention in order for Indian literature as a category to be adequately theorized? Next question. Denying the existence of a purely repressive apparatus or a purely ideological apparatus, Althusser concedes that very subtle, explicit, or tacit combinations may be woven from the interplay of RSS and ISS. Discuss the interplay, giving examples either from the essay or from your own experience. Next question. Briefly outline Ahmad's position on English and English literature departments in his theorization of Indian literature. Next question. Gramsci's materialist definition of intellectuals and his analysis of their social function help to situate them in relation to the preservation or subversion of homogenic power. Elaborate. Next question. The phenomenon of Orientalism, as I studied here, deals principally not with a correspondence between Orientalism and Orient, but with the internal consistency of Orientalism and its ideas about the Orient, despite or beyond any correspondence or lack thereof with real Orient. Now, we have to discuss this. Quotation. Discuss. Next question. Discuss Gramsci's distinction between civil society and political society and briefly explain its connection to the function of intellectuals in society. Next question. The foundation that Macaulay laid of education has enslaved us. Briefly discuss the statement in relation to Gandhi's views on education as elaborated in Hind Swaraj. Next question. Foucault's notion of power is one that set itself in opposition to the concepts of ideology and repression. Discuss Foucault's understanding of these two concepts and briefly outline his theory of power. Next question. There are thus two interpretations of structure of sign of play. The one seeks to decipher, dreams of deciphering a truth or an origin which escapes play, and the other order of the sign which leaves the necessity of interpretation as an exile. The other, which is no longer turned toward the origin, affirms play and tries to pass beyond man and humanism. Discuss the two interpretations of interpretation referred to here. Next question. What are Gandhi's views on civilization? How does he use this trope to unsettle epistemic categories received from the West? Next question. How does Said, means Edward Said, account of pure and political knowledge inform his larger analysis of Orientalist discourse? Thank you so much.